Hello everyone, I am here for another author featured in my 12 Authors for Christmas. I am here with Mark James, who I lovingly called Sensei. Sensei, please tell the folks a little bit about yourself.
Oh wow, this is the part that I really hate. Gosh, I'm a protection specialist on a full service protection agency. We specialize in protective services, threat assessments, teaching people how to be their own first lines of defense, whether it's from firearms or combatives, combative self-defense. Prior to that, I spent 22 years in corporate America. I've been blessed to work for corporations like Nike, Coca-Cola, done some pretty nice jobs in those things. Been blessed to do protective services on 5 continents in about 40 countries.
So you know what you're talking about.
A little bit. A little bit.
So this book, Defensive Handgun 2, obviously is a follow-up to Defensive Handgun 1. And what I liked the most about this is, as a person who is not familiar with personal safety, as it were, or handling guns at all, it was written in a way that I could easily understand.
Right.
You have illustrations, you have scenarios, you're teaching people how to protect themselves.
Yeah, when I wrote this book, what I wanted to do was, I wanted to improve upon Defensive Handgun 1, which Defensive Handgun 1, we took you everything from purchasing a firearm to learning how to defend with it. But what I wanted to do with Defensive Handgun 2 was also incorporate some things that I hadn't seen in any other handgun books, so I could make it always keep stuff contemporary, keep it relevant to the challenges that people are facing today. You know, one of the big tactical triad cover, concealment, and distance. People hear those words, you create distance, but sometimes they don't know what that means,
right?
Or they hear about cover, they hear about concealment, but sometimes people don't really know what that means. So with this book, what I did was I took it from not just a theoretical standpoint, but I created the scenarios in everyday life. So we talk about making your shooting platform match your available cover. So if I'm in the middle of a mall, or I'm in a parking deck, if I'm in the parking garage, how to use a cement pillar to keep yourself safe, because that will stop a bullet from penetrating. So just not hearing the concept of cover, but showing them what it looks like in an urban landscape.
Is that why you put the pictures?
That's why I put the pictures, but that's why I put relevant pictures to people's everyday lifestyles, so they would understand it. If all you have is, if this was a brick wall, why take a standing position when a kneeling position allows you to keep your body protected by the brick wall? So you have to show brick walls. You have to show a big oak tree. If so, whether it's a big oak tree that you might see in a park to hide behind, whether it's a cement pillar on a parking deck that you might hide behind, show people contemporary things that they experience every day in their life and show them how to do the things. One of the biggest challenges with this book was, how do you create urban situations and not get people calling the SWAT team, either the guy in the parking lot with a gun?
Right, because these are not sketches; these are real pictures with real people.
Right. And so, you know, how do you use your automobile for safety? Which parts of the automobile should you use for cover or concealment? What's concealment? Concealment allows you to hide. Cover has the ability to stop a bullet. So both of them are beneficial, but one is more beneficial than the other.
Right.
If I'm around the door, I can hide behind the door, but most modern day firearms will penetrate through the door.
So you need cover.
So you need cover, which is, there you go. So that's where the engine block, where you have the ability to use the steel engine, the metal engine, even though a lot of that stuff is aluminum nowadays, which will help stop the bullet far greater than just hiding behind a door, which will penetrate. But if you can't see me, you can't get a good shot at what you're shooting at. So concealment still has a place, but cover often beats concealment if you have the ability to utilize it.
And just the way he explained it here today, he has several more scenarios in the book. How many chapters do you have?
Oh gosh, I think this book has 12 chapters. I also did things like I had never seen before. A lot of people have dogs, but I incorporated how to use your canine in your home defense plan. Because just because your dog can bite, it doesn't mean that biting might not be enough.
Right.
When you look at dogs are considered what law enforcement calls less than lethal options. They're like tasers, they're like ass batons. So if you look at your home monitors and there's someone outside your house with a firearm, why release your dog? He's a less than lethal option. You wouldn't go chase a guy with a firearm with your ass baton or with your OC spray.
Right.
So why would you release your dog? Now your dog is going to fight for the death to protect you, but why put that dog in a situation they can't win?
Because once he's shot and dead, that's it. He can, or shot and wounded.
And I look at most people look at their dog like family members.
Right.
So if your dog is taught to bite, when is it appropriate to use that scenario? I might train, like with my dog, I'll train Maximus if somebody comes outside to bark. And after he barks, if that doesn't make you leave, then I want him to be quiet. I want him to retreat to the point of safety. Because I don't want you to know where we are in the house. Now that makes the bad guy have to slow down because he doesn't know where we are. He did hear the dog. And if he hears that big aggressive dog barking and that does not deter him, then I know this is a different type of criminal.
Right.
This is probably a professional predator. So he's probably armed, he's probably prepared to deal with the dog, and he's probably prepared to deal with you. So once again, how do I want to use the dog? I never want to give away my position. I want to keep all of the chips stacked in my favor. I want the tactical advantage of you not knowing where we are.
Right.
That makes you slow down. If you know exactly where we are, you can move to that point faster.
Right.
Which means everything that you do in your reactionary gap has to be faster.
Right. And let's see some of the cover for Defensive Handgun 1.
This is the cover for Defensive Handgun 1.
And we also have 3 titles because this is book number 5. So you are able to, as a consumer, not only help to secure the safety of you and your family, but the safety and security of your friends and family as well, like extended family. This is a wonderful gift, especially now in a time when we are alerted to so many people being kidnapped and held at gunpoint, homes breaking into. This is becoming more of an everyday thing. So why not begin to arm yourself?
And the biggest things I like to tell people when you start talking about having guns, a lot of people think about having guns, they don't train with how to protect themselves with ones. When do I want to pull my gun? You can't outdraw a drawn gunman.
Right.
So if a guy already has a gun drawn on me, trying to draw my gun, all I'm doing is guaranteeing I'm going to get myself shot.
Because he's already pulled. He's
already
ready to go.
He's already ready. Now you can draw on a distracted gunman, but you can't draw on a drawn gunman that's focused on you. If he turns his head to look for something else because he hears a noise, he maybe thinks it's the police, I might, depending on my skill level, have the ability now to draw my gun and handle the business. But maybe I'm just better off complying.
Like somebody like me, because I have no idea what to do, and by the time I fumble and grab
if the person really wanted to shoot me, he probably would have shot me already. So if he hasn't shot me already, he probably just wants my car keys. He probably just wants my money. If all he wants my car keys, you can have them. You can take them, drive away, my car is insured. You want my wallet, you can take it. The biggest hassle there is going to the driver's license and get a new driver's license. But I can cancel all the credit cards. So I'm not worried about you taking my material things. Now, if you want me to get in the car with you, now as Bill Maher says, now we got no rules. That's not going to happen. Because if you take me away from this environment, there's no, and you decide that you want to dispose of me, no one's going to hear that shot in the woods. Right. At least in this major metropolitan area, I know where I am. If you're going to shoot me, if I'm going to run, you're going to shoot me in the ass. Because there is a great chance that somebody in this area might know CPR, might know first aid, might know how to stop the bleeding, can get me to emerging medical services quickly. But if I'm taken away, I lose the ability for all of those things. So if I'm going to take a stand, I'm going to take it right here where I understand the environment, where I am, versus being taken away to the woods. I don't even know where to run to.
Right.
So it's all about you controlling the dynamics of what you're doing. And the biggest thing starts with awareness. You know, an escape beats an encounter every time. You know, when you start looking at trafficking today and you look at people being kidnapped and people being abducted, if you're walking to your car and your parking space is the next space, is the next aisle over, and there's somebody sitting in a car, why walk through that lane? Why not walk 2 lanes over where there's no one sitting in the car? I'm not saying this person is a bad person, but I don't know that.
Right.
So let's not figure it out.
Right.
Why not put let's not put myself in that situation. As you know, I do protective services for a living. We focus on risk mitigation, not risk management. Yes, I can fight. Yes, I can shoot. I don't want to have to shoot. I don't want to have to fight. Let's not put myself in that situation. So if you're walking to the parking lot and you have a shopping cart, and there is somebody there, keep a barrier between you and that person. Keep the shopping cart between you and that person. Keep the car between you and that person. Give you something that gives you a reactionary gap, which gives you the ability to get away. And when you tell a person to stay right there, that's exactly what you mean. Don't feel like you're gonna hurt somebody. Hey, how can I help you? You can stay
Stay
right
right
there. And so once again, now if they keep coming, now they're already violating that, that command.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have to heighten my awareness to say, what is changing in these dynamics? So make sure that you allow yourself to control those scenarios as often as you can, so you don't find yourself in that situation. You look at human trafficking today, and most of it it's either vulnerability, it's force, it's opportunity, and they find unsuspected people, and they're targeting either a parking lot, they're targeting the people who aren't paying attention, they're looking at the people who have both of the earbuds in. It's the iPhone era where I'm walking around, I'm so busy doing social media that I've lost touch with reality.
Right.
So I don't see the person that's getting ready to grab me. I don't see the person who's been following me throughout the store. So I lose track of that because I'm so focused on the next social media post that I want to put up. Or you get in your car and you sit in the car and you are doing social media. You're balancing your checkbook on your phone. When I get in the car and I drive away.
Right.
So I'm going to take away that opportunity. So when you think about, where you're parking, I try to stay away from high vehicles, stay away from dumpsters, stay away from things.
Oh, I didn't think about dumpsters.
Stay away from things which can obstruct vision, so people can't see you. And so that makes yourself an easier target, for people. So think about those types of things, because if you can avoid those situations, then you don't have to worry about defending. And with ladies, oftentimes ladies think about, well, if I decide I want to have a firearm, I'm going to keep it in my purse. But if I want to rob you, what's the first thing I'm going to ask for?
Your purse.
Is your purse. So your self-defense tool just got taken away from you.
Right. And how do you move forward from there?
So how do you move forward from there? And so now, if they didn't have a gun and all they had was a knife, they now have at least one gun because they just have your gun that they just took away from you.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Very good point.
So if you're going to learn to carry a firearm, I really encourage people to learn to carry it on their bodies, as opposed to, now you can always make a decision to choose not to pull it, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So just some things that we, like I said, that we talk about. There's a chapter on bikes and bullets, how to incorporate your motorcycle in defense when you're on a motorcycle. One of the things that a motorcycle gives you is the ability to accelerate and get away. In a very short amount of time, I can create a tremendous amount of distance. So we talk about cover, concealment, and distance being important in survivability. Well, I can create cover just by moving. A guy gets out with road rage, I can navigate around the cars and keep cars in between me and him. I can drive up on a sidewalk and get away. So I can still use cover and concealment of the 18-wheeler that's parked in the lane next to me in this traffic jam to navigate around that guy to keep a barrier between me and the bad guys. So cover, concealment, and distance work whether you're walking in a vehicle, on a motorcycle, or how do you incorporate those things into your own safety plan.
Wow, very. I'm scratching my head because we had an incident with my kids in the Publix parking lot the other day, and I always tell them when we get out of the car, no phones. Look where you're going, look who's around you. And my daughter saw a guy, well, there was a group of guys walking and they slowed down and one stopped in front of the car and tried to prevent us from moving. And my daughter said, Mommy, look, Mommy, look. So my son was like, lock all the doors. We were ready, and they approached the car and were asking me to roll the window down. So I just took off. But just being alert and aware, never parking near vans or trucks. But I never thought about the dumpster thing. That's wow. So if you are interested in defensive handgun techniques or just general personal safety, I highly recommend any of his 5 books. Where can we find them?
Amazon.
Amazon.com. So you can Amazon Prime and have it tomorrow. Thank you very much, Sensei, for joining me today. And I'll see you tomorrow for another of our 12 authors for Christmas. Bye-bye.
See you later. Merry Christmas.